Ladies and gentlemen, before success arrives at your door, it demands something from you. It requires sacrifice. It asks you to let go of the habits that are quietly draining your potential, day after day, moment after moment. Success doesn't just show up because you want it. It shows up because you cleared the space for it, because you removed the behaviors that were holding you hostage. Today, I want to talk about 9 habits you must quit to achieve success. But instead of listing them one by one, we're going to break them down into 5 powerful principles, 5 shifts that will change not just your routine, but your mindset, your direction, and your entire life. Let's begin when you quit doubting yourself and start trusting your vision. Something powerful begins to move inside you. You start waking up with a different kind of energy, walking with a different kind of confidence, speaking with a different kind of authority. Because doubt is a quiet thief, it doesn't break into your life with noise and chaos. It slips in silently, sits beside you, and whispers reasons why you shouldn't try, why you shouldn't believe, why you shouldn't take that next step. And if you listen long enough, doubt will convince you to live a life far smaller than the one you were created for. But there comes a moment when you have to look at your reflection and decide that the voice inside you is worth trusting. Your vision is not random. The dreams you carry are not accidents. They are messages, assignments, calling you toward a version of yourself you haven't met yet. And the truth is, your vision sees farther than your doubt ever could. Doubt focuses on limitations. Vision focuses on possibilities. Doubt shows you what you might lose. Vision shows you what you can build. Think about the people who changed their lives, the people who built something meaningful, the people who rose from nothing and created something extraordinary. They didn't do it because life handed them perfect conditions. They did it because they trusted the pull inside them. They trusted their direction even when their path wasn't clear. They trusted their purpose even when their resources were limited. They trusted their instinct even when they stood alone. It's easy to doubt yourself when you're staring at obstacles. It's easy to doubt yourself when people around you don't understand your dream. It's easy to doubt yourself when your progress feels slow and your results don't match your effort. But trust isn't built on what you see. It's built on what you know deep inside. The quiet conviction that says, keep going, keep building, keep believing. You didn't come this far to abandon your gift. When you trust your vision, you learn to walk with patience. You learn that every step counts, even the small ones. You learn that progress isn't always loud, and growth isn't always visible. Sometimes believing in your vision means showing up even when nobody is watching, preparing even when nobody is cheering, working even when nobody understands. But that's where character is built. That's where strength is formed. That's where future victories are born. There will be days when you question yourself, days when you feel unqualified, days when the dream feels too heavy, too distant, too complicated. That's when you remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself of the fire that pushed you to begin. You remind yourself that the vision inside you is not asking for perfection. It's asking for commitment. It's asking for courage. It's asking for a willingness to grow into the person your dream requires. Trusting your vision doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality limit your possibility. It means understanding that every great achievement began as something invisible, something fragile, something only one person could see at first. Vision is the seed, trust is the soil, action is the water, time is the sunlight. Keep those 4 things in place and growth becomes inevitable. So stop handing your life over to doubt. Stop giving your fears the authority to shape your decisions. Stop letting insecurity decide the size of your dreams. You have a purpose that deserves your full belief. You have gifts that deserve your commitment. You have a future that deserves your trust. Stand tall in your vision. Let it guide you, stretch you, and shape you, because the moment you stop doubting yourself, the moment you finally trust that inner direction, life begins to open doors that were hidden from you. Opportunities start to find you. People start to support you, and the path that once looked impossible begins to reveal itself one bold step at a time. Trust your vision. It knows exactly where you're going. There comes a point in your life when you realize that dreams don't move just because you want them to. Goals don't get accomplished because you thought about them. Success doesn't arrive because you felt inspired for 5 minutes. It only comes when you start showing up with consistency, even on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. And that's where procrastination becomes the quiet enemy of your potential. It tricks you into believing you have time. It convinces you that tomorrow will be easier. It makes you comfortable with delay, comfortable with excuses, comfortable with being almost ready, but never actually committed. But when you quit procrastinating and start showing up consistently, everything in your life begins to shift. There's a new rhythm, a new seriousness, a new strength forming in you. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you understand that perfect moments don't exist. You create them through action. You create them by saying, I may not feel ready, but I'm showing up anyway. I may not know everything, but I'm learning as I go. I may be unsure, but I'm moving forward. Consistency is not about being flawless. It's about being faithful, faithful to your dreams, faithful to your goals, faithful to the person you know you can become. When you show up day after day, even in small ways, you are proving to yourself that you're serious about your future. You are teaching your mind discipline. You are building habits that will serve you long after motivation fades. Look at any high achiever in any field: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, thinkers. What separates them from everyone else is not natural talent alone. It's not luck, it's not shortcuts, it's consistency. They practiced when nobody was watching. They studied when others were sleeping. They made sacrifices that nobody applauded. Consistency took them further than inspiration ever could. Procrastination, on the other hand, has a way of shrinking your life. It makes your world smaller. It slows your growth. It steals opportunities you didn't even know you had. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you're planting seeds of delay instead of seeds of progress. And those seeds grow. They grow into habits. They grow into patterns. They grow into a lifestyle where you're always planning, always intending, always hoping, but rarely executing. There's power in routine, power in discipline, power in doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. When you show up consistently, you build momentum, and momentum is a force that can carry you through doubt, fear, and difficulty. It lifts you when you're tired. It builds confidence as you start to see results. It shapes your identity, reminding you that you're capable, reliable, and strong. Think about the version of yourself you want to meet one day. The one who achieved the goals you're dreaming about, the one who transformed their life. That version of you is not built on occasional effort. It's built on repeated effort, steady effort. It's built on the days when you pushed yourself to show up even though the world didn't give you a reason to. And the beautiful thing is this: showing up consistently doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you are. It builds character, it builds resilience, it builds trust within yourself. The more you follow through, the more you believe in your ability to follow through again. That's how confidence grows. That's how excellence develops. That's how success becomes a natural outcome instead of a distant wish. So today, challenge yourself to take the step you've been avoiding. Start the project, make the call, read the page, go to the gym. Learn the skill, take action, even if it's small, because small actions repeated consistently can reshape your entire life. You owe it to your future self to stop delaying your growth. You owe it to your purpose to stop waiting for the right moment. And most of all, you owe it to your dreams to start showing up like you truly want them. Consistency will take you places procrastination could never reach. There comes a moment in your growth when you realize that the people around you are either fueling your rise or slowing it down. And sometimes the harsh truth is this: the people you care about, the ones you've known the longest, the ones you've laughed with, shared memories with, leaned on, can also be the ones holding you back without even meaning to. Limiting people aren't always loud. They don't always discourage you with anger or envy. Sometimes they limit you with comfort, with small thinking, with conversations that keep you stuck in who you used to be instead of who you're trying to become. When you quit surrounding yourself with limiting people, your life starts to expand, your vision gets clearer, your energy rises, your dreams stop feeling impossible because you're finally breathing air that supports growth instead of suffocating it. You start to hear your own voice again, not the noise of doubt, negativity, or fear that others project onto you. Sometimes you don't even realize how heavy someone's presence is until you finally step away from it. A limiting person is someone who can't see beyond their own fears, so they convince you to shrink yours. They tell you to play it safe because they're scared of taking risks. They tell you to be realistic because their imagination is wounded. They tell you it's too late, too difficult, too risky. Not because they know, but because they're speaking from their own reflection, not yours. And if you're not careful, you start absorbing their beliefs. You start carrying their limits as if they belong to you. But the moment you begin choosing your environment intentionally, your life takes a different shape. Look at anyone who rises from hard circumstances. Look at anyone who breaks cycles. Look at anyone who becomes more than what they were expected to be. At some point, they stepped away from circles that didn't grow with them. They outgrew conversations that went nowhere. They understood that loyalty does not require self-abandonment. You can love people deeply and still recognize that they are not the soil where your future can grow. And it's not about thinking you're better than anyone. This is about becoming better than your old self. Growth demands space. Dreams demand support. Purpose demands alignment. If the people around you aren't challenging you, inspiring you, stretching you, or encouraging you, then they're holding you in place even if they don't mean to. You need people who talk about goals, not gossip. People who push you forward, not pull you back. People who clap for your progress, not question your ambition. People who see your potential, not your past. When you stand in rooms where everyone is committed to rising, it becomes almost impossible for you to stay stagnant. Because their discipline rubs off, their hunger rubs off, their confidence rubs off. You start thinking bigger simply because you're surrounded by people who live bigger. Even science agrees with this. Studies show that habits and mindsets are contagious. You become the average of the people closest to you, financially, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. So when you choose your circle, you're actually choosing your direction. Changing your environment doesn't always mean cutting people off with anger. Sometimes it just means stepping back with clarity. Shifting your energy, investing your time more wisely, protecting your peace more fiercely, choosing to spend your days with people who reflect who you're becoming, not who you used to be. And yes, it may feel lonely at first. Growth often does. The path upward is quieter than the path sideways. But that loneliness is not punishment, it's preparation. It's creating space for the right people, the aligned people, the people who will walk with you into the future you're building. So honor your journey enough to be selective. Honor your dreams enough to guard them. Honor yourself enough to walk away from rooms that make you shrink. Because when you release the people who limit your growth, you make room for the people who elevate it. And that one shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. There comes a point in every person's life when they have to look in the mirror and decide who's really in charge. Not their circumstances, not their past, not the people who disappointed them, not the mistakes that once slowed them down, just them, their choices, their effort, their responsibility. And that moment only arrives when you quit making excuses and take full ownership of your life. Because excuses are a comfortable prison. They keep you safe from effort, safe from accountability. But they also keep you trapped, stuck in the same patterns, living the same days over and over again, while your potential waits for you to stop hiding behind reasons and start stepping into results. Excuses come in many forms. Some sound like fear, some sound like frustration, some sound like blame, some even sound reasonable. But no matter how pretty they look or how logical they feel, excuses do one thing: they freeze your progress. They convince you that your problems are bigger than your power. They make you believe that the world owes you an easier path, But life doesn't hand out victories because someone wants them. Life rewards the ones who decide that whatever stands in front of them will not control what happens next. Taking ownership is not about pretending life is perfect. It's not about denying pain or ignoring unfairness. It's about saying, I can't control everything, but I can control my response. I can't rewrite my past, but I can rewrite my future. I can't choose who hurt me, but I can choose how I heal. Ownership is the moment you stop pointing fingers and start using your hands to build the life you want. Look at anyone who succeeded despite the odds. Athletes who rose from poverty, entrepreneurs who started with nothing, students who worked their way through adversity. They didn't reach the top because life cleared the path. They reached the top because they took responsibility for every step. They didn't wait for someone to save them. They didn't sit around hoping for permission. They got up, they worked, they learned, and they tried again. Ownership made them unstoppable. Excuses, on the other hand, make you predictable. They make you passive. They make you a spectator instead of a participant in your own life. And that's a heavy price to pay. Because every time you blame someone else, you give them power over your destiny. Every time you blame the economy, the timing, the people around you, the lack of support, the lack of resources, you give away a piece of your strength. But when you take ownership, you bring all that power back home. Think about how different your life could look if you owned every decision, if you owned your habits, if you owned your attitude, if you owned your dreams, if you owned your discipline. Imagine how unstoppable you'd be if you refused to let any excuse dictate how far you go. Ownership doesn't mean perfection. It means responsibility. It means growth. It means learning from your mistakes instead of defending them. It means looking at your life with honesty and asking yourself the hard questions. What part did I play? What can I do better? Where can I take control today? People who take ownership are not fearless. They're determined. They don't always know what to do. They're willing to figure it out. They don't always win. They keep showing up until they do. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for a perfect moment and create one. You stop expecting others to push you and start pushing yourself. You stop living as a passenger and take the driver's seat. And once you do, something incredible happens. Progress becomes natural. Confidence grows. Discipline sharpens. Direction becomes clearer. You start seeing possibility everywhere because you finally believe in your ability to shape your own life. So stop letting excuses rob you of the life you're meant to live. Honor your potential enough to take charge, own your choices, own your dreams, own your direction, because the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment everything in your life becomes possible. There comes a moment when you realize that the only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is the space you keep yourself trapped in. Playing small might feel safe. It might feel familiar. It might feel comfortable. But comfort is not the same as purpose. Comfort is not the same as calling. When you play small, you shrink from your own greatness. You dim your own light. You hide the very gifts that were meant to lift you into a higher version of yourself. And deep down you know it. You can feel the weight of unused potential pressing on your chest, reminding you that you were made for more than surviving. You were made for becoming. Stepping into your true potential isn't about ego, pride, or trying to outshine anyone else. It's about honoring what's inside you. It's about giving your talents permission to breathe. It's about standing tall in the abilities you've been given and refusing to settle for a life that keeps them buried. Every person who ever created something extraordinary, who ever inspired others, who ever changed their own world, had to make one decision: stop shrinking and start stepping forward. They had to choose growth over comfort. They had to choose courage over fear. They had to choose action over hesitation. Playing small often comes from fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of disappointing others, fear of stepping into a version of yourself you're not used to yet. But fear has never built a legacy. Fear has never written a success story. Fear has never lifted someone out of ordinary living and into extraordinary purpose. Your potential doesn't grow when you protect yourself. It grows when you stretch yourself. It grows when you stop worrying about who might doubt you and start focusing on who you're meant to become. Think about the dreams you've had, the ones you never fully admitted to anyone, the ones you write down and hide, the ones that whisper to you at night. Those dreams weren't given to you by accident. They were placed in you because you have the capacity to bring them to life. But dreams don't thrive in small spaces. They need room, they need action, they need belief. They need a you who is willing to step out of the shadows and into the possibility of something greater. When you stop playing small, your mindset shifts. You start making decisions that reflect your potential, not your limitations. You start speaking differently, standing differently, carrying yourself with a quiet strength that comes from knowing you're capable of more than you've shown. You start moving with intention. You stop letting people's expectations chain you down. You stop accepting less than what aligns with your purpose. You stop apologizing for wanting a bigger life. And stepping into your potential doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily choice, a daily courage, a daily commitment. It's choosing to show up with excellence even when nobody sees you. It's choosing to push yourself even when distractions try to pull you backward. It's choosing to trust that the version of you you're walking toward is worth every sacrifice along the way. There's a powerful shift that happens when you finally decide to stop playing small. Suddenly, opportunities find you because you're standing where they can see you. People begin to respect you because you respect yourself. Your world expands because your mindset expands. The walls that once boxed you in start to fall apart, not because they disappeared, but because you outgrew them. The world doesn't need a quieter version of you. It doesn't need a smaller version of your talent, your heart, your intelligence, or your purpose. It needs you, fully present, fully committed, fully alive in what you're capable of doing. You have a role to play in this world that nobody else can step into. And that role requires your strength, not your shrinking. So rise into your potential. Walk with the confidence of someone who knows they were built for more. Honor your gifts. Expand your limits. Let your life reflect the greatness that's been waiting inside you all along. Because the moment you stop playing small is the moment your real life begins. When you quit these habits, self-doubt, procrastination, toxic circles, excuses, and shrinking yourself, you create room for success to breathe in your life. Success is not a mystery, it is a result of choices, habits, and mindset. So choose differently, act differently, think differently, because the life you want is waiting for the version of you who is willing to let go of everything that no longer serves your calling.